Hi, folks. My name is Dan Bromberg. I'm the Director of Academic Programs for the Carsey School of Public Policy. And today we're going to talk about the Accelerated Master's programs at the Carsey School. I'm joined today with Juliana Good, one of our students who's in the Accelerated program. So after this quick presentation, we will stop sharing our screen and I'll jump on with Juliana and we'll learn about her experience at the Carsey School. And we'll open it up to questions. So if all of you look at the bottom of your screen, there should be a Q&A feature. You're welcome to feed questions into that feature on Zoom, and we'll be sure to get to them at the close of the presentation. So why the Carsey School? The Carsey School offers a number of opportunities beyond just the classroom experience. So we obviously have our academic programs. For our accelerated programs, we have a Master's of Public Policy and a Master's of Public Administration. But the other aspect of Carsey is that we're engaged in a number of different research opportunities that our students can have access to should they want to pursue other research pursuits. So we have a Center on Community Development Finance. We do a lot of research on demography. We do research related to global and how policy might affect them. And then we have our outreach arm, which is New Hampshire Listens, which is a civic engagement initiative. And you could see how all of these different pieces fit into the policy landscape, especially thinking about the last 8 or 9 months. Each of these different areas were really engaged in a variety of work throughout what we've all been experiencing with the pandemic, with racial injustice, and with the election. So you really get to see the different aspects of public policy and how research can engage with that. So our academic programs, we have a Master's in Public Policy, we have a Master of Public Administration, and we have a Master in Community Development. Like I said, the MPP and the MPA are 2 accelerated degrees. So the Master of Public Policy, what does that focus on? Primarily, we think about a Master's in Public Policy as a degree that helps students both develop public policy, analyze public policy, and advocate for public policy. So by combining those 3 different skill sets, it really does give students a pretty well-rounded understanding of the policy-making process, but also when you're trying to push for a particular policy, how do you advocate in a strategic manner to get that policy to the right people? So you'll learn skills to communicate with the media. You'll learn skills to develop various strategies to promote that to legislators. And you'll learn skills on how to analyze policy to ensure that it's affecting the communities that you're hoping it affects in the right ways. The MPP is a 40-credit program. There are 2 tracks. There's a policy analysis track and a strategy and communication track. It is 5 core courses and a series of experiential learning opportunities. We have our January term colloquium, which takes place in Washington, D.C. This is an opportunity for students to meet leaders across the policy spectrum. So from advocates to folks that work in the White House, to legislators, to government affairs professionals. And typically, students will go to D.C. for a week. They'll spend anywhere from 8 in the morning till 6 or 7 at night in these meetings. And they really get to learn a great deal about that experience. We also have an internship and a capstone project, which lend to the experiential learning aspect of the MPP. The Master's of Public Administration is really the flip side of policymaking. It's the implementation of public policy. So after that policy has been implemented, either through a legislature or a town council, it still needs to be implemented. And there's a lot that needs to happen on that side of the equation. The Master's of Public Administration essentially teaches students how to both manage those organizations that are implementing the public policy and implement that public policy in a way that provides services to the community members in an equitable manner. The challenge here is that public administrators need to do this within a heightened political environment, and obviously their goal is a mission, not necessarily the bottom line like a private organization, which is dollars. So this presents a number of different challenges and introduces a number of different managerial techniques that one would use. The MPA typically takes 16 to 21 months. It's a 36 credit program, and it will be shifting to an entirely online format over the next 6 months or so. It is built for those that need a flexible schedule, that need to possibly attend school in the evening and work during the day. So it really does have the working professional in mind when we're talking about the Masters of Public Administration. Our Master in Community Development is yet one more side of the policymaking process. We see the Masters of Community Development as a great opportunity for those who are interested in grassroots policy development to engage on that level. So it really takes an integrative approach, looking at management, finance, public policy, and economic development. And you learn how to bring communities and stakeholders together. You learn from those communities and stakeholders. You develop projects that are related to those community and stakeholders, and you work through that process throughout your time in the MCD program. Really, the shining star of the MCD program is our capstone project, which begins on the first day that you enter the program. You start designing that project with help from our faculty. And for an entire year, you work through that project design, development, implementation, and then finally evaluation. So it does offer students a pretty unique opportunity to be on the ground, working in communities, and developing a project while learning the skills as to how to do that best. It takes about 36 credits to finish, and give or take, this could be completed within 14 months, and then obviously it can be extended based on everyone's time frame and how much they're able to balance both their life and their school. There are other options for UNH students in particular. So we have a semester in the city option. Semester in the City is a partnership with the College of Social Innovation. Currently, we're offering a $5,000 scholarship for any students that are in Semester in the City. And Semester in the City is an opportunity for students to work both in nonprofit organizations and other public service-facing organizations throughout Boston for a semester. You get both credit and you get that experiential learning opportunity. The nice part of partnering with the College of Social Innovation and Semester in the City in particular is we really believe that these are the students that fit extremely well within our programs. They're public service focused, and they're out there gaining that applied experience that we value so much. So what is an Accelerated Master's program? Ultimately, the Accelerated Master's program allows you to dual count your credits as an undergraduate student here at UNH and count some of those credits towards your graduate education. So ultimately, it's what some people would call a 4+1 or early entry. Within 5 years, you would finish your bachelor's degree, and then you would also be able to finish your master's of public policy. So it provides a pretty great opportunity for students to both dual count those courses and not spend any more money while they're dual counting those courses. So who is eligible? So UNH students are eligible. You have to be about to complete 90 credits, so kind of rolling into that your final years here at UNH. You need to have a 3.2 cumulative GPA. And there are other program-specific requirements like anyone else who would be applying to our program. Ultimately, you do get to count up to 12 credits towards your graduate education. So it's a great opportunity to be able to do that. So why should you apply? Ultimately, there's very little risk in applying for the Accelerated Masters of Public Policy program, right? So this is something that you could take advantage of during your senior and junior year, and it doesn't affect your plans in the end at all, because you're still pursuing that undergraduate degree that you need, and it's just creating an opportunity for you to pursue that graduate degree in a more expedient manner. So ultimately, it's a win-win for students. And it really provides you an opportunity to take advantage of all that UNH is able to offer you while you're here. So I went over this a little bit, but you end up being able to take about 12 credits. 3 of those are what we call dual credit coursework. So that would be a course that's typically taught at the 700/800 level, or you might be able to take a 700 level course, and we could create a graduate section for that course. So that would be 3 classes. And then we also have the opportunity to waive you in to a graduate class that is fully graduate without undergraduate students. So in total, because graduate classes are only 3 credits each, you walk in with 12 credits towards your program or 4 classes towards your master's program. It's a really great opportunity, and I would encourage everyone to take a hard look at this. And we're obviously more than happy to discuss this opportunity with you. So you must be admitted to the semester you wish to begin taking the graduate or dual credit. So for example, if you want to start the process in the spring of 2021, well, then our deadline is in December of 2020, right? So we have an upcoming deadline, which is December 15th. And if you apply and you're admitted at that deadline, then you could start taking classes with us as early as the spring 2021 semester. So a pretty cool opportunity, and I would encourage everyone to jump on board if you're interested in public policy. Your application fee is waived for this program. There are 2 letters of recommendation that are required, your transcripts, your personal statement, and there's no GREs required, which is really nice for our UNH students. We don't feel as if the GREs really tell us any more about you than we already know. We know your faculty members. We've probably engaged with all of you in various ways. So it's a nice opportunity that you would not have to take the GREs. So there's coursework, there are internships, there's work or volunteer experience, undergraduate research, letters of recommendation, personal statements. All of these will influence, the factors related to the decision of acceptance. But once again, I'd encourage you to reach out to us, chat with us, and we could help you figure that out. Ultimately, what you need to do is you do need to have your financial aid in place for your undergraduate. And if you're taking these courses, ideally you're taking them while you still need to complete some credits at the undergraduate level. So with that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop my screen share. I'm going to introduce Juliana, who has been gracious enough to join us today. And Juliana is one of our accelerated students. She's been pursuing finishing her undergraduate degree while pursuing her master's of public policy at the Carsey School. So first, Juliana, I'm wondering if you could just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, hi. Thanks so much for having me today. So I am, like Dan said, a student in the Accelerated Master's Program. I'm in my 2nd year of the program. I've had kind of an interesting path through that I won't get too much into, but I did my undergrad in music performance, and then I applied into the Accelerated Master's Program when I was a junior by credits. And it's been a really awesome program. I really enjoyed it. It's opened up so many opportunities for me that I would not have imagined coming into my undergrad. So I'm really excited to be in the program and focusing my research on my passion, which is disability, justice, and policy.
Awesome. So curious why you opted for public policy and either not going straight into the field and doing some advocacy work, which I know you do a little bit of already. Why the degree? Why did you feel like that was a good path to take?
So for me personally, I felt like my undergrad didn't necessarily lend itself to what I realized I wanted to do by the time I was in like my 3rd year. And so I thought if I could add on a policy degree, which was more in line with what, the jobs that I would be seeking out when I graduated, it would be just like better for me and would make more sense to have on my resume. But also I think understanding policy and like those fundamentals is a really important part of doing advocacy work because, I think it's important to understand the systems that are already in place and understand how to analyze developments on a policy level when you're advocating for communities who are impacted by that policy. So I wanted to have a working knowledge of, policy in general, and also have the opportunity to kind of specialize in disability policy with my own research and the electives I chose to take. So this program was really perfect for both of those kind of goals.
Cool. Reflecting on some of the courses that you've taken, anything that really just stands out as wow, that was either eye-opening or that was super helpful for what I want to do? Just any highlights that you could share with us?
Yeah, so I would say my two favorite courses so far, one is an elective and one is like a core piece, I guess, of the coursework. So I took it was I forget the exact name of the course, but it was like, it had to do with social enterprise that Professor Swack taught last semester. And it was all about how, we can use businesses as a force for good, and using kind of hybrid frameworks of like for-profit and nonprofits to, make a difference and still have an entity that's financially sustainable. And I had been, kind of kept abreast of that that field by working with the Center for Social Innovation and Enterprise, which is kind of a baby of the Carsey School, as well as Paul College and the Sustainability Institute. So being able to really take a close look at the structure of those types of organizations was really fascinating to me. And it led to me being able to start my own kind of tiny social enterprise with an accessibility consulting firm that I currently run. So definitely great, just like real world knowledge, applied it immediately. And it's great. And then the other course I really love is one that I'm in right now, which is strategies and communications for public policy, which is taught by two people who work for a strategy communications firm. So they aren't like really academics, but they are just teaching this class because they like live this stuff every day and know how to communicate effective policy strategies and influence the right people and pull the right strings to get desirable policy passed and formulated. So that's been really eye-opening as someone who has a lot of ideas of things they'd like to see in policy, but is not especially persuasive or good at like, getting people on board without like knowing some of those skills first. It's been super valuable to see, those strategies and how they work in the real world.
Yeah, cool. I think, that is certainly one of the things that we tried to do, at a high level, which is to bring in folks that are doing this on a regular basis. And even, Professor Swack, who is a full-time faculty member, like he still lives and breathes this in a very, applicable way. And that is, a goal of both the school and, and all of our programs, is to make sure that our students are exposed to people that are on the ground doing this work. So that's cool. I'm glad that you said that. So just thinking about students who are considering applying, any thoughts or advice that you would have for them as far as either just making their way kind of through this decision, or, just routes to take, anything along those lines?
Yeah, so I would say, I know some people that I've talked to have been apprehensive because they're like, I don't know exactly what I want to do. And I feel like, like getting into graduate school, like I should know exactly what I want to do. But I think the beauty of this program in particular is that it's specific enough that you learn like a really valuable set of skills, but it's also broad enough that you can kind of focus your attention in any number of areas and change that as you go through. So like there's people who are like, I just want a basis in policy so I can eventually choose to work in reproductive policy or disability policy or racial justice policy or, any number of things. And so I would say, if you don't know exactly what it is you want to do, that's totally fine. Don't let that be a barrier to you applying, because the faculty are so incredible. And I've like been able to connect with so many people outside of UNH through the Carsey faculty, who have really helped me kind of see, what I might want to do after I graduate. So that support is definitely there. And I would also say, there's no harm in applying. You can just try it and see what happens. I definitely felt like I was kind of doing it on a whim almost when I applied, because I was like, oh, I don't know if like this is going to be the right fit or if like I'm qualified for this or whatever. And it's worked out beautifully. So I would just say, go for it. The support is there for you. All the faculty at Carsey are amazing. And it's just been a great opportunity for me. And I hope it will be for you too if you decide to apply.
Well, there's a little more I could say than that. That's awesome. Thank you, Juliana. I think that's super helpful. You know, and I would second that. And I would also say, reach out to us. You know, we're happy to chat with you. You know, we're not in the business of selling this program to people who don't think that, you know, it fits them. And, you know, we ultimately want the decision to be right for you. And I think Juliana's experience kind of speaks to that. So that's great. Yeah, we would encourage you to apply, but we would also encourage you to just chat with us, and we'll walk you through that process. If it works out for you, perfect. And as Juliana said, there really is little harm in kind of starting the process and seeing where you land. And ultimately, as an undergrad, if you make your way through, you know, May or December and you graduate and you say, you know what, I actually don't want to pursue this, that option is always there for you, right? I mean, just by applying, you don't have to come, right? You're not compelled to come. So once again, I just want to say thank you to Juliana for joining us today. We really appreciate your time and jumping online with us. Thank you to everyone else who has been listening, and we look forward to hearing from everyone. If there are any questions, we're happy to take them. I don't think I'm seeing any in the chat right now, but we can hang out for a few minutes. If any arise, please feel free to either throw them in the Q&A box or throw them into the chat box. And Juliana and I can field them.
Yeah, and I will also put my email in the chat box if you think of any questions for like a student in the program. I'm more than happy to chat with you and help you out with that.
Awesome. Thank you, Juliana. That's great.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. Well, without any further questions, feel free to grab that email. Feel free to email me or Robin Husland or Sanjeev Sharma, who we're all posted on the website. We're all here to help you and figure out, you know, how this works. Angie, it was our pleasure, and we'd be happy to chat with you in the future.
Definitely.
Take care.
Thanks, Dan. Bye.
All right. Thanks, Juliana.